you know?
Wow.
That's awesome.
I think it's good. I think I've learned by embarrassing myself. I think everything I've done that I've learned has been from fucking it up horrifically and then realizing, ooh, okay, I should never do that again. But one of them was, how do you ask somebody a question? I remember auditioning for something in a room, and I recognized this guy who was in the movie Good Will Hunting. He was one of the guy's brothers. Is it Ben Stiller's brother that's in the movie?
Affleck.
Ben Affleck.
Or
Ben Affleck's brother. Yeah, Casey Affleck.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck, Ben Stiller, same person.
Casey Affleck, who he says, don't masturbate in the baseball glove again.
Yeah.
And so I walk in the room and I sit down and I go, hey. And he goes, hey, how you doing?
Who are you talking to at this point?
And this is Casey Affleck.
Oh.
And I'm sitting there and it's just quiet in the room. And I'm looking at him going, I know this guy. And I go, didn't you jerk off in a baseball glove in that movie? And he goes, I just asked the question like that, and based on his reaction, I knew it was a real asshole question. He goes, yeah, I did. Wow, never been asked that before. Yeah. I realized, wow, I should have worded that a little bit differently.
If he was a prick, he goes, it's called acting. I didn't actually jerk off. I acted like I was.
Has there been anyone that the thing that I think is really interesting about comedy is that along the way you get these cool gigs where you interact with people at just random functions. Have you ever met anyone that you really admired who let you down, or have you ever worked with somebody or run into somebody who you had little or no respect for that was so cool that you will defend them to this day because they were so cool to you?
I got some. It's in the middle of that kind of. Somebody I saw in the St. Louis airport, J.C. Watts, who was a black Republican, and I could tell from Oklahoma, I think.
Right.
And I could see that it was him from the shape of his head because I'd seen him on TV. Right?
I didn't know anything.
And I'm not. I mean, I got jokes about black Republicans. I'm not respecting that. Okay. The joke is, what's worse, a black Mormon?
Decent people. They're not have a different view.
The joke was.
They're
black with money. That's
a bunch of white people in a shed that are tying up.
No. The joke I did was, what's worse, a black Mormon or a gay Republican? Black Mormon. Because he's probably a Republican too. And so, and so I saw J.C. Watts.
I thought it'd be because he's fucking more than one white.
So I saw J.C. Watts in the airport.
And you thought of the joke?
Yeah, I thought something to do, right? No. So I walked up behind him and I said, with like the best voice that sounded like I was really happy to see him. And I went, J.C. Watts. And he turned around with a big smile and I just went, black Republican. He just walked away.
That's awesome. Wow. That's a great fucking story, man.
This is all we got.
Boom, there's your first video clip right there. Boom, 30 seconds. Bam! Wow.
He turned around with a big smile. He went, black Republican. He just walked away.
Anyone else that you've met that...
Right, punchline one more time. Just in case they have to cut it.
No. I'm going to edit this. It'll be all right.
Do the face again.
Anyone that falls under the category of someone who you really admired let you down, or someone you had little or no respect for?
Well, one of the guys, I went on a tour of Israel with Jeffrey Ross, the Roastmaster General.
Oh, for like a military thing?
No, just a tour of Israel for Jews.
Really?
To laugh, yeah. The whole Jew Laugh charity thing.
Yeah.
So we were there for 2 weeks. And I didn't really know much about Jeffrey Ross, and I knew that he was the roast guy from Comedy Central, but I didn't know much about him. And what a great guy! Really humble, really sweet, really funny. And kind of just socially awkward like we all can be. And then I got back from the tour, and I picked up his book when it came out. We only roast the ones we love. And had I read the book before, I would have been nervous to meet him.
Really?
But it was really cool to kind of get to know him without really knowing much about him.
Right.
And then when you read his book, it's a fantastic book about comedy. And he, surprisingly, is a brilliant storyteller and writer. So highly recommend it.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah.
You can get Jeff Ross's book on Amazon.
Jeff Ross's book, get my copy for half price.
I did a show, and I was at a show.
But can I just It's always bothered me that when you see somebody on TV, you then become nervous to meet them. But like in this case, I wasn't nervous to meet Jeff Ross, and we had a really sort of normal kind of relationship because I hadn't seen him on TV. What is it about seeing someone through the television first that changes my mentality or everybody's
Because they're in the box and you
perception
can't
of who
touch
they
them.
are? Because I've always felt, you know, Nick Swartzen?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He, right out of high school, essentially, went from Minneapolis to LA and hit it big. And my theory is that he always treated famous people like they were treated before they were famous. And that's what famous people really crave, is that sort of just normal, authentic.
But then, yeah, but I don't, you know, I've had that happen where I met, it was Mike Birbiglia.
And he's funny.
At Giggles. I'd done a show.
Mike
I went over-
Birbiglia?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I went over there, and Terry, the owner of the club at the time, goes, "Hey, this is Mike. Duane, Mike, this is Duane. He's the headliner in town." I went to shake his hand. I mean, I don't know much about him. I heard his name, but I didn't really know his act. So I went to shake his hand, and instead of shaking my hand, he just gave me a CD. I'm like, I don't know.
But I went on tour with Mike.
He's a germaphobe, right?
I went on tour with Mike, and that's how he kind of treats you when you're even in the same car
Wow.
as him.
So, but to me, I didn't know much about him. It's not like I was let down by him. I just said, fuck him. I don't want your fucking CD.
I thought you were a germaphobe, though.
I am, but I'll still
Maybe-
shake someone's hand. I'll
Sure.
still Good meeting you. Be right back.
You mentioned Jeff Ross,
Where was the
and
CD?
Jeff Ross did an interview once where he talked about how grateful he was, and he's in stand-up comedy, and that he's surrounded by so many funny people. And it's the same way I feel. I feel grateful that I know so many funny people who crack me up, and when I see them on TV, I can call them up. I was somewhere like I want to say it was like Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I came across a channel and I saw David doing a stand-up thing, and I fucking lost it. And I don't know if you do the same thing I do. When I see people I know on TV, I exaggerate my friendship with them.
We are so tired.
No matter how well I might actually know the person, I'll take it one step further. I'll go, David Crowe! You know that guy? Know him? Hello, the guy taught me how to kiss when I was in junior high. Are you kidding me? It's my buddy. I love it. Drive. I'd call him right now if I had his number. And I get so excited. But
I think there's something though to what you said about treating guys, because I've met a bunch of comics they're really big famous comics now, and they were then when I met them, but I've never asked to take a picture with them.
right.
Because I think it's, can I get a picture with you? I mean, that all of a sudden now I'm not a peer. Like if we're all in a picture together, that's different. But if I go, can I get a picture so my friends know that we're friends? Like,
Right.
to me, like,
Yeah, it's different.
I think it's something you do in the beginning. Like you want to have a picture of yourself as your profile picture, standing
Okay.
on
Take a
it.
picture together before the show.
Go ahead.
It was David's last interview. Shane,
This is going viral.
In memoriam, David.
Everybody laughed their asses off before they realized he had been gone for 5 minutes. But there's a mentality when you first start that you want to look legitimate and you want to have pictures on your profile page. Your profile picture is you on stage with the microphone, and then the longer you do it, the less you give a shit about that. Or when you're
Good shot.
when
You
I
wanted
was
a picture with me.
like the first 10 years of doing comedy, like I wanted people to know, like, you know, what do you do for a living? I'm a stand-up comedian. Like, no way. Oh man, what's it like? It's awesome, and I love to talk about it. And now when people ask me what do you do for a living, I go, I'm unemployed.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it because I don't even want to engage in the conversation. My joy and love for stand-up comedy goes so far that, like, when I really enjoy somebody and I see them, and maybe I shouldn't do this, but when I see them, like, if they're selling CDs after the show, I'll say, hey, is it cool if I grab a CD? Because I love having something to listen to when I'm on the road and listening to tunes.
Have you met Mike?
Well, I'm at a show at the Improv, and Frank Caliendo, for whatever reason, has always been kind of a dick to me, and he's selling CDs.
But
after
his
the
impression
show.
of Madden loves you.
And I see him after the show, and he's selling CDs, and I go, hey Frank, you know, it was good to see you. And he goes, yeah, thanks. And I go, hey, is it cool if I grab a CD? And he goes, sure. Just so you know, it's copyrighted. And I go, what? I'm sorry. What?
Whoa.
I was like, fuck. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I've never really done a Madden impression. Yeah. So sometimes you get those, like, weird moments. You can feel insecurity pouring out of people. We're all
He
insecure.
was doing an impression
Oh, yeah.
of Shapiro when he did that.
Yeah, what's which
George
Shapiro?
Shapiro.
Oh, George
the lawyer.
Shapiro. I thought,
Yeah.
I was going Rick Shapiro. Man, I fucking love heroin. Fucking suck your dick for heroin.
Envelops me the way it does
Yeah.
into my veins.
But I think that's the most interesting thing about it is that you meet people who, like, whether it's comedians or just personalities.
Yeah, I was in the LAX. I'm going through security, and I look back and I see this guy go, "Oh my God, that guy looks familiar," and it was Larry Miller.
I love Larry
Miller. And I was like, I'd never met him before, and I was like, God, I kind of want to say something, but
You got to say something to
But
Larry
I've never
Miller.
been that guy to go up to strangers and go, "Hey, I'm a big fan," because I feel kind of weird,
Right.
I'm like, I don't know. So we're taking our shoes off and stuff like that, and so then we're
At security?
Yeah, so now we got to go over it, and we're putting our shoes on. He comes up, he's next, he's putting his shoes on, and I had these like slip-on Vans or something. He goes, "I need a pair of those." I go, "Yeah, they're great." I'm a big fan of yours. I just want to say that. It's like, "Oh, thanks a lot, buddy. I appreciate it." No, I just think fantastic.
Did you tell me you were a comic?
Comedian.
No, I didn't say I was.
Oh! That's how you get a conversation.
That's
where you get it, right?
I did. I go, I'm just a big fan. I just want to say, like, "Well, thanks a lot," but I go, "All right, I enjoy your show." And I fucking all but ran to my gate. I was so embarrassed. I was like, I go up to strangers I don't know and start chatting them up. I'm like, crazy. "Hey, I'm a big fan of yours." "Oh, thanks." And I just bolted. Like, I was so nervous about it.
You did remind me. I did see a comedian who I really looked up to, and it was definitely not only.
You should have ran away screaming.
It was not only one of my first comedy albums, but definitely one of my early, I don't consider it an influence because I never thought I could be a comedian growing up. I just was in awe of stand-up comedians. I loved music, but comedians were like, wow, that is balls. I think it's the way most people feel about comedians.
Yeah.
Is that's just balls to be able to do that, especially if you can get away with it. If you can actually get people to laugh. And I do remember being coming from somewhere that Cheech and Chong had just performed, and I was flying back to LA, and Cheech was in the waiting area, and I was like, fuck, and I kind of went by his area, and I go, excuse me, man. I go, I'm sorry, my name's Craig Gass. I'm a stand-up comedian. I'm giving him my TV credits to let him know I really am a legitimate comedian. I do this and this and this on I work with these people, and he goes, oh, cool, man. How are you? And he goes, come on, have a seat. And I go, and I sit down like on the edge of my seat, like I'm just letting you know I am leaving. And I go, hey, man, I just wanted to say that
I'm not your friend.
No, they were crying,
like,
temporary.
I just want to let them know that I saw you guys on one of your first shows, and as a stand-up comedian, it was so fucking awesome to see you guys still have that timing. And as a comedian, it was just like, fuck. I mean, comedians, like, we don't really like laugh out loud. It's just, he goes, oh yeah, it's always like funny. That was funny. And I go, yeah, exactly. And I just wanted to say that. And he goes, well, hang out. And I go, I want to leave you alone. He goes, no. He goes, sit down, man. He goes, so what's going on? Where did you work at this weekend? I'm like, oh, I was working. He goes, oh, cool, man. How was it? Did you like it? And we got this whole thing about comedy. Then we get on the plane. He's got a couple of kids with him. And he made...
Were they his or just kids?
Yes.
Kids.
His kid, he made his kid sit in the back, and he sat in first class. So I instantly went from like, wow, that's really funny. I went from like, fan looking for a moment, a personal, private moment that I'll keep to myself forever, to suddenly realizing I need to document this and put it on Facebook immediately. There's Cheech. Here's the kids, and I put it on Facebook. I suddenly, because I'm always looking for content, and I'm always looking like, if there's a moment that'd be funny, I need to capture it and immediately post it so that everybody else can get a kick out of it. Yeah. And so I went from, I don't think it was that bad. I mean, it's kind of funny that Cheech is sitting in the front, and he's like, all right, we'll see you in LA. Have fun.
Well, first class. Same question.
You obviously don't have
it, but I just thought you were really good at Nash Bridges. So I'll let you get back to your family. I'm going to go over here. But Nash Bridges was good stuff.
Are we going to sit in?
Well, first class when you don't have kids, right?
No.
See, first class when you have kids is any seat that's not near your kids.
Right.
So first class is ruined if you bring your kids up there.
Oh, yeah, for everybody
first
in
class about that.
If you bring your kids in the first class, they put you on a list.
Yeah.
The
no-fly list.
No. You got to sit by J.C. Watts next time.
Who's he again?
He's a black Republican.
Is there any subject that you can, about stand-up comedy, that you can talk endlessly about stand-up comedy, that you just have, like, is there any one subject that you can never hear enough stories about?